Hey, what is up guys? My name is True Underdog, here today with the beginner's guide for Kim Woo, although the format's going to be a bit more like our how to play videos. So without further ado, let's break her down step by step. First off, we have her command attacks. Now she has 2 Dragon Flurries and 2 Dragon Waltzes, and I'm going to go ahead and put those on screen and explain their attributes for you. Now Dragon Flurry 1 is medium punch, heavy punch, medium punch, and it's honestly my favorite for 2 reasons. The first is that medium punch has great range, right, all the way over here. The second is that it's safe on block, which is also why I like it. Notice how Kim Woo backs up a little bit too, so that's why it's my favorite attack string by far. Now the second Dragon Flurry is similar, but it has 2 extra hits. It's medium, heavy punch, medium, heavy punch, medium. Now unlike before, it's actually not safe on block. However, she does dance around the screen a little bit, she has some pretty dang good footsies with it, but I don't recommend using it as often as it is unsafe if the opponent blocks it, so just keep that in mind. Then we have Dragon Waltz, which is medium punch, heavy punch, heavy punch, and it looks like this. Basically, Kim Woo scoots forward a lot, so let me back up a little bit so you can see that. It's a very aggressive attack string, right? It's for moving forward. If you're pretty far away and you want to get in, it's a pretty good way to gain space. Now it's -3 on block, which I believe is unsafe. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there are attacks in this game that are 3 frames, so be careful how you space it, and be responsible with it overall. Now Dragon Waltz 2, it's very similar, but it ends in 2 heavy punches. So it's medium punch, heavy punch, medium punch, heavy punch, heavy punch. Now this attack string, just like Dragon Flurry 2, is also unsafe on block, so be careful with it. However, it's also very aggressive because she does scoot forward a lot. It's 2 heavy punches. And for any of you that aren't aware, basically just doing heavy punch will always scoot you forward and medium punch will always scoot you back. So you can be pretty creative with how you do these. There's no real set order. Those flurries and waltzes are kind of just guidelines. You can always use heavy punch to scoot forward and medium punch to scoot backward. That's pretty much the general rule of thumb. Now before we go into her special moves, let's say a couple more things that make Kim Woo unique. The first is her Dragon Grasp. This is down back and then throw. She switches sides with the opponent, and you can actually go straight into a linker. And for me personally, I always prefer medium Firecracker, because it does good damage and it's guaranteed to combo. You can also go for an auto double as well, but the timing's a bit more strict, so I don't recommend it. Okay, so last but not least we have our Dragon Counter. Now this works on all attacks except for projectiles or throws, so keep that in mind. It does not work on projectiles, it does not work on throws, but it works on every other kind of attack, so it's very useful. It also gives you 1 dragon, so check it out, I got a dragon floating around. Now I will discuss what that guy does a bit later on in the special moves, but just keep in mind he's very useful. He's a good friend to have around, and you can have up to 3 friends. Now if you have Instinct available, you can actually cancel this for a full combo. Alrighty, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to our special moves. First on our list we have Firecracker. Now Firecracker is a great opener and linker, because every version is actually safe on block. However, the downside is that it hits twice, so a smart opponent can shadow counter you with ease, because you're always going to get that second hit. So just keep that in mind. If your opponent has meter, it's not the best opener. Now I should also mention, if you keep pushing the button, she does it indefinitely. And it might not seem very useful, except that it does reflect projectiles, so let me go ahead and show that. So you could try and time it perfectly, right? He's going to throw a fireball, and I'm going to reflect it. Pretty cool stuff. You saw how Jago not only got reflected, but he got hit. However, if I don't want to time it perfectly, I can just keep pushing the button. So I'm going to see this fireball and just hold it down. Just keep pushing the button, right? Just keep repeatedly pressing it, and I reflected it without having to time anything whatsoever. So if you don't feel like timing things, just keep pushing the button. It's a pretty good tactic. Now, while Firecracker is a good opener, I actually prefer it as a linker. So I'll start off a combo with something different, and then I'll use it as a linker. That's my absolute favorite. Now if you end the combo with heavy Firecracker, you actually get a dragon. So check this out. This dragon is good for a lot of stuff, and the majority of their attacks are done with all 3 kicks. So check this out. First off, we have a ground dash. Pretty useful stuff, right? However, it can also be used for an air dash. Let me go ahead and steal one real quick. Doot 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 doot. Here we go. And voila, air dash. Pretty cool stuff, right? So it's a ground dash and an air dash. However, what it's especially good for is canceling special moves and attack strings. So if you do an unsafe attack, you can actually cancel it and make it safe. Or you can combo after it like a boss. Last but not least, let's cover her Shadow Firecracker. So it does pretty good damage, and I recommend using it as a linker. However, her meter is also better spent in other ways, so I can't always recommend this move. If you want my honest opinion, do not ever spend the meter on a Shadow Firecracker. It's pretty easy to combo break, and you have better ways to spend your meter. Okay, so next on our list we have Dragon Dance. Now this honestly is my favorite opener in the game. The light version hits overhead, but is -3 if blocked, which is technically punishable. However, if you have a dragon available, you can totally make it safe, so I can just do it, then dash forward and I'm totally fine. If it connects, I can do a linker. If it's blocked, then I'm still safe and can continue to apply pressure if I want to, right? The pressure is still there even when it's blocked, as long as I have a dragon available. Now the medium version has pretty good range, and it's actually +2 on blocks, so not just safe, but you're actually at advantage if the opponent blocks it. Now the downside of that is that it hits twice, so just like before with the nunchucks, the opponent can totally do a shadow counter on this if they block it and they have meter. So always be aware of your opponent's meter, that's the lesson here. Now the heavy version has the most range and does the most damage, so it's pretty good if you're far away, but it's also -3 on block. So if you don't have a dragon available, it's a pretty risky move. It also hits twice, just like the medium version, so again, very easy to shadow counter, just keep that in mind. I don't see many reasons to ever do the heavy version. The light version, great overhead, great mix-up, right? Especially after a low, like crouching medium kick, pretty good option. Makes the opponent scared, right? You have a low and an overhead that can both combo. Pretty scary stuff. Now I forgot to mention how the light version actually causes a ground bounce on airborne opponents, so let me go ahead and show that off real quick. Okay, so what that does is it allows you to extend your combo a bit more for a bit extra damage. So just keep that in mind. It's an option if the opponent's in the air. You can totally use this move for a ground bounce. Now the shadow version does good damage and goes through projectile, so that's the main benefit, right? Go through a projectile and get your damage or get your dragon, right? Those are your options. So pretty good stuff. It also has pretty dang good range. I think all the way over here it still hits. Yeah, it's pretty much max range. So it's a very far-reaching overhead. Pretty dang good if your opponent throws a projectile out. You can still punish them on reaction, right? Pretty cool stuff. Okay, Jago, stop hitting me in the face with fireballs, okay? We're done. We're done with that part. Alrighty, so last but not least, if used as an ender, this attack actually causes a wall splat in the corner. So you got your typical mix-up. You can go for a throw, you can go for a low, or you can go for an overhead, right? All those things are your options. Alrighty, so last but not least we have Dragon Kick. This attack is single hitting and does a lot of damage. The light version goes straight forward and does a ton of damage. Look at that, right? Just crazy stuff. Now the medium version is an anti-air that hits more in front of Kim Woo, and the heavy version is also an anti-air, but it hits opponents who are more directly in front of her. So right, if they're more above her, that's the heavy version. If they're a bit further away and in the air, that's the medium version. If they're in front of you, use the light version. Now keep in mind that every single version is very unsafe on block, so use this attack with caution. It's best used to whiff punish the opponent, so if they throw out a normal and they miss, boom, you can get them with it. Now on the off chance that you don't whiff punish and you make a bad read, you can always cancel it with the dragon, and it's 100% safe. And like you saw earlier, we can actually combo after it if it hits, so it's a win-win as long as you have the dragon. Now the shadow version is one of Kim Woo's greatest weapons in my opinion. It doesn't have great range and should never be used raw. However, it is a great combo ender, you guys, like a seriously great combo ender. Check this out, okay? I'm gonna do a very short combo and end it with this. Look at this damage. Boom. What's that, 32% for 7 hits? Are you kidding me? A level 1 combo? That is crazy stuff, you guys. And you may think, it's not too much, right? Let's go ahead and do a bit longer of a combo and see what you think then. Check out this damage. Boom. That is 50% for a very short combo. Okay, it wasn't quite 50%, it was 48%, but we're gonna go ahead and round up, okay? It's still a lot of damage for just 1 bar of meter. In my honest opinion, this attack alone is what makes Kim Woo such a threat. She can end almost any combo for massive damage as long as she has the meter. Some really, truly scary stuff. Even if you don't have the meter, it's still a pretty dang good damage ender. Not quite as satisfying, but still very powerful. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about Kim Woo's instinct. So Kim Woo's instinct is similar to Spinal's. It allows her to regenerate dragons for free. So no more dragon counters and no more dragon firecracker enders. Instead, you just get them for free, which means you get a lot more air dashes, a lot more ground dashes, and a lot more special moves and normal moves being cancelled. Now, one last important note about Instinct is you can use her dragon projectiles for free now. So you no longer need to reflect a projectile in order to send these bad boys out. However, it does cost 1 dragon, so keep that in mind. It doesn't do very much damage either. I don't think it's really worth it, but if you want to play that range game, you totally can with Kim Woo, as long as she's an Instinct. Alrighty dogs, with that all out of the way, it's time to finally discuss her best normals. So first off, we have Standing Medium Punch. I was already talking about this move earlier. It's got amazing range and it's incredibly fast and it's safe. I mean, look at this. I mean, Jago just can't deal with this pressure. It's just too much, too good of range. Now, standing heavy kick also has really good range because it scoots her forward, but it's not as safe, so you gotta space it more properly. You gotta be a bit more responsible with it. Standing medium punch, totally reckless. Just use it. Go ham. It's totally great. Use the attack string too. Why not? Do it. Use that Dragon Flurry. Just do it. And next we have crouching medium kick. So this is her most threatening low attack, and it's not very threatening. I can actually go through Jago's body and not hit him. Let me see if I can space it right. So look at this. I'm totally hitting him but not hitting him. So it's not the best range, but it's important to utilize. Otherwise your opponent's going to start blocking all your overheads. So you want to use the lows every now and then. Man, look at crouching light kick. It's even worse. I'm kicking all the way through his foot and not hitting him. So you want crouching medium kick for the most part. In fact, combine them. Do a low into overhead. Why not? Pretty scary stuff. Standing heavy punch is also pretty dang good. It's got a lot of area that it covers, but just not as good as standing medium punch. You know, pretty good, but not nearly as threatening. It's just not as much of a threat. So next up we have the jumping attack. So jumping heavy punch is your go-to cross-up for sure. It's just like Jago. It's very deadly. It also hits in front, so it's honestly my favorite air attack. It's got a great hitbox and it's pretty hard to miss with. Now, likewise, jumping medium punch is also a pretty good cross-up. You gotta do it a bit later, and it's a bit deceptive, but it's pretty tricky. I mean, look at this. I mean, the opponent has no idea where I'm actually gonna land. It's a bit harder to tell than the heavy punch. That being said, I still prefer jumping heavy punch. Now, jumping heavy kick is pretty interesting. It appears to hit right on top of the opponent, so it's pretty tricky. If the opponent thinks you're gonna cross up, but you're not quite, you can use it. You can kind of trick them, right? I'm about to land behind him, but I actually don't. That's the one benefit of jumping heavy kick. Alrighty, dog, so let's put it all together and make some combos. Keep in mind, it's always important to vary up your attacks. That way it's harder for your opponent to use combo breakers. So yeah, dogs, that concludes the guide. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please leave a like down below. And while you're down there, go ahead and post a comment too. Tell me what you think. If you want to go the extra mile, stop on by my Patreon and show your support. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more videos. We have content on this channel every single week. It's never a dull moment on Underdog Gaming. So make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.